I've heard current workers say that, like RU46 is serious. you know, um, they know how dangerous it is. They know the difference between the heart medication and RU46. CVS and Walgreens don't, and we're just going to see this play out. It's going to be bad, and we're going to have more of these complications. But I also think, and praise God, we're having 40 Days for Life outside of the pharmacies, and we'll do a big push for that in the fall. Also, we're not going away, but it shows how what we say is not this cliche, but this really is about hearts and minds. Because what removes this whole scenario? This poor girl in Canada dying, Holly Patterson, all the women that have died over the years in Canada, in the United States, um, figuring out how you can get a doctor to write a prescription to your local CVS so you can go drive through, go home, go through this horrific process. What annihilates all of this is getting rid of the desire to kill the baby. That's the foundation of the abortion movement, and the ultimate sickness of our culture is that we will the baby out of existence. Our desire to kill the baby is what's driving this. Okay. And I mean, our as a society, and then of course, as individuals who say you should get an abortion, or I want an abortion, or making your girlfriend get an abortion, whatever it is. And most women going in for an abortion don't intellectually process what's exactly going to happen. I'm sure the culpability varies from woman to woman, but ultimately there is this desire that we don't want children and we don't want this child. And the only way to get rid of him or her is to kill him or her. And that is the ultimate sickness with what we're talking about. And that is, of course, what we can never lose in these conversations. Because the parents of Holly Patterson, the parents of all these women who just all of a sudden are dead in their apartment and their parents didn't even know that they were pregnant. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. If she was pregnant, she didn't want the baby. Maybe she was embarrassed. She didn't tell us. We could have helped her. Whatever it is, that is why we have to go out to the sidewalks. That is why we have to go out to the sidewalks. So, okay. This last study, Steve, you mentioned the Mayo Clinic, but the abortion industry runs around and says all the complications are rare. They'll talk about the pain. They'll give them instructions. They may get wide eyes and be like, okay, well, it's not as easy as you think, but they say you're not going to have any real complications. However, a 17-year study, this wasn't just snagged like one crazy year, a 17-year study of 423,000 abortions confirmed 121,283 ER visits within 30 days of the abortion.
Whoa.
Yeah, that is shocking. And to be clear here, when I first read that, it sounded to me like we're looking at like, what, 1 in 4 women who takes the abortion pill?
25%.
And that may or may not be the case, right? Some women, and this doesn't make it any better, by the way. That's how many emergency room visits, not how many women went to the emergency room. So maybe there's a woman who's going, 2 or 3 or 4 times. I'm not sure, but that's how many visits are associated with it. Here's where this number just really blows out of the water Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry's talking point about like, yeah, well, some women die, but almost all of them don't. These are rare complications. The reason the complications that are reported are rare in Planned Parenthood's estimation is because Planned Parenthood is telling women who suffer complications from the abortion pill, when you go to the emergency room, don't tell them you're having an abortion. Tell them that you're having a miscarriage. And so that does a couple of different things. One is it provides some cover to Planned Parenthood and to the other abortion providers. But on top of that, it's also really bad for women. Doctors need the full information about why a woman is showing up at the abortion facility. Why a woman is showing up at the emergency room after having an abortion. And The study that you're referring to, Sean, also has good data that shows that when a woman misreports an abortion as a miscarriage, her health outcomes are worse. So none of this is in the interest of women's health, and certainly the way they are going about reporting and managing complications, also not in the interest of women's health. It's about keeping Planned Parenthood out of the headlines, making sure that you don't have any more material to run a Super Bowl ad with.